Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my VCT Pacific playoff predictions. Kind of crazy that we're already at the end of the season here, um, but this playoff bracket looks really, really fun. It's actually one of my first times looking at it, just because I have looked at it already, but that was just like oh shit, the playoffs are soon, so I should record this video. Um, but yeah, I'll be just going through every team, giving a small little recap of their season, and then I'll get into the pickums for the whole bracket. So if you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Really helps me out. While I have the Pacific fans here, if you guys have any players from any of the like Ascension leagues or VCL leagues, I guess, uh, in the Pacific region that you think I should watch to like scout, I guess, for a video series, please let me know in the comments. Really appreciated and help me out. But yeah, if you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as I already said. Follow me on Twitter. I've been tweeting about Pacific stuff. And yeah, let's get right into it. So we'll start with a little mini recap of DRX. At Lock-In, they were running the with Zest, not Foxy9. But week one, I think they were missing Buzz, right? Yeah, it was Buzz that they were missing. So they played with Foxy9 for the first time, but they also had Zest in their roster. And then as the season went on, I think it was Global was their first game that they played with the roster that they played with the rest of the season without Zest and with Foxy9. Um, and they just kept running their normal comps. Were just as dominant. Had this really close game against Global. Against Talon, they kind of stomped them. They ran this weird comp. Uh, DRX ran fairly normal comp. I think this was Foxy's. No, that was his second game race. Never mind, I'm stupid. Uh, Pretty much stomped Vapor Rex, dropped the map to Gen G in a game that people predicted them to lose for whatever reason, but I just never saw it. I thought they were the better team throughout this. They ran a weird double duelist comp on Fracture, which is probably one of their weaker maps right now. So be aware of that. I don't know if they're banning it fully. No, they're just still banning Lotus. Then they dropped the map to RRQ, where they got like really heavily anti-stratted on Haven. Kind of weird. Stomped the other two maps, just like the Gen G game. And then beat Detonation, obviously. And then surprisingly put Zest back in for this game instead of Foxy9. I don't think there was ever a reason given for this, but they lost 2-0 to Secret in fairly convincing fashion, kind of doing a little bit of trollery in that game. But they ended up beating T1 fairly convincingly with Zest back in. Or not with Zest back out and Foxy9 in. And they managed to make playoffs as the number one seed. Now we have Paper Rex, who had one of the more interesting seasons out of any team. So they lose 2-0 to Cloud9 at Lock-In fairly convincingly. And then I think it was for the second game they brought him in. They got something ahead of the like season split here, and were struggling to get him a visa, so they just kept playing with the normal roster, beat Detonation, and I think lost Team Secret with this roster, and I think this was the last game they played with it. A very close game, but Team Secret managed to pull out instead of them. Running a lot of double duelist stuff with Forsaken and Jing. And then against T1, they brought out something along with Benkai in the same roster, which was kind of odd, I will say. But they managed to kind of roll them over as individuals. Like something played really well on Pearl, which I mean, and then they started swapping Forsaken over to the Killjoy, which was a really good swap in my opinion. Just kind of getting back to their old ways, kind of thing. But eventually, as the season went on, they stopped subbing Benkai in, beat Global there. They beat Talon, and I think this is the Global game was the last one Benkai played. And then what was the one? Was it against Global? Yeah, where they played Icebox the first map, because this was the last week that Icebox would be in. That's the only reason they played it. Cigars played in this game was really weird, and then just managed to kind of 2-0 sweep the rest of the season, and kind of coast off individual talent as they have, but also have some like cool set play stuff while also just doing some trolling and not really looking like the old team. And then we have our third seed, T1 going 6-3, and being kind of a gatekeeper team in a way. I think they lost to, at times, the top three teams in the league. They lost to DRX and PaperX, the top two, and then Genji, who at the time were probably the second best. So you can kind of argue that maybe they're not as good as the third seed. I think there's teams below them in seeding that are better than them right now. But overall, I do think they were a little bit inconsistent. Obviously, like weeks they would like get rolled by Paper Rex here. I think was this game even close against Genji? No, but like they would play against the good teams and they would get absolutely demolished. But whenever they played against Talon, who were trolling, they kind of rolled them. Global, this game wasn't that close. Their Haven was just bad. Uh, and then RRQ, again, not that close. Detonation, they absolutely trolled in this game. I don't know what they were doing. But regardless, that was a bad week for them. And then Team Secret, they rolled them. That was when Team Secret was kind of doing some trolling as well. And then Zeta, this was actually a close game where they actually played really well. I think they're starting to get hot. Obviously, they got rolled by DRX. I don't really need to talk about that too much. But they did kind of get hot towards the end of the year or end of the season. Obviously, you don't love the fact that they, every time they went up against a good team, they got flattened. But I think as long as they stay at the same level, they are probably favored to get to the third spot for Tokyo by most people. But I do think some other teams are a little bit ahead of them. And then in the number 4 seed, we have Zeta Division, who at the beginning of the season, they got rolled by Leviathan at lock-in, and then rolled. No, that wasn't even a roll week one, was it? Oh no, it was a close. No, it was a roll. What am I talking about? Some of this stuff was at the beginning of the season, so I don't fully remember it. But they had 3 really close games, or not 3, two really close games after that DRX game, where they didn't look great. But over the course of the season, they played against Detonation, looked pretty good in that game in a Japanese rivalry matchup. I guess you could call it a rivalry since it's just Japan versus Japan, but I don't think the teams actually don't like each other. And then they lose to Talon, but that game actually, both teams looked really good. I thought that was the sort of like Talon's like redemption arc that they had a little bit towards the end of the season. I'm kind of sad they didn't make playoffs. I really would have liked to talk about them. And then they beat Team Secret. It looked very, very good in that game. They lose to Paper Rex, but I don't think this game was that bad from them. Obviously, playing against a team that's just so individually good, against a team that I think more so relies on structure than individuals. Just it's never really that good of a matchup for them. They lose a really close game to T1. I thought they should have won Fracture there, but Ban just went crazy on them, so they probably should have 2-0'd that game. So I'll give them that pass. And then they beat Genji, who didn't look terrible, but kind of fell off towards the end of the season. So actually, I think Zeta is probably a better team than T1 right now, even though they did just lose to them. I think if they rematched, they would probably end up winning, as you'll see. Probably in my Pickems. I haven't done them yet, so we'll just have to see. All right, and then we have the 5th seed, Team Secret, who, my God, this team was so frustrating this year, or this season, I guess. So they beat Liquid super convincingly at Sao Paulo at lock-in, and then kind of fall out, I guess. I wouldn't say bomb out against Navi. They didn't play well in that game, but it was still very good. And I think I had them rated as like the second or third team coming into VCT Pacific, and I think they pretty much proved that the first few weeks. They beat Talon, who at the time was very, very good, or at least considered very, very good. I think they played well in that game and then kind of fell off the rest of the season. And then they beat Paper Rex before they get Benkai in, or Benkai out, I guess. Not that Benkai was the problem, but something was just a kind of a individual spark that team needed. And then they lose to Genji, which wasn't too bad because Genji was playing very well at that time, and that was a close game. And then they lose to RRQ, which is where that fall started to happen. Um, like you didn't expect it, but RRQ did play really well that game. I don't think Secret played particularly well, but that's probably why they lost. I mean, they didn't play terribly, but obviously losing to a team that's probably the seventh or eighth best team in the league, or at that time eighth or ninth probably, just doesn't look too good. They beat that nation the next week, and then you're like, okay, maybe they can get back on track against Zeta, and they just don't. Uh, I don't know. It just this team was so weird. I don't know what to think about them at this point, but they lose to T1, and then once the Super Week started, they turned it on. They beat DRX 2-0 very convincingly. I think it was 13-8, 13-11 on Haven and Ascent, too, out of all maps. And then they beat Global, I think. I don't think this was super convincingly. Yeah, I mean, 13-9, 13-10. It was convincing enough to where you're like, oh, wow, that's actually an impressive win. So this team is getting hot at the right time. Uh, and I think they definitely have a shot to make Tokyo over some of these other teams. And the last team here, we have Genji. I haven't looked at this team's match results recently, but I do find it funny that it's all red. Um, I thought this team was the most overrated team uh, ever since like week 5. I've talked about it so much. They win the first 4 games, where they beat RRQ, sure, whatever. They were playing bad then. Uh, they managed to scrape by against Detonation when they were hyper trolling. DR or Genji was, not DRX. They get rolled on Fracture, and then this Pearl. If Detonation didn't troll their defense side, Genji was just doing some wacky shit on the in the first half, and I think they might have had a shot to win that game. And then they beat Team Secret, who were playing well at the time. Beat T1, who were kind of a gatekeeper team, so I guess that was a good win. And people were predicting them to beat DRX. Never understood it, as I said earlier. They lose that game. And then from there, they snowball. Lose to Global, lose to Talon in an upset that I predicted. I mean, I saw that coming a mile away. Talon was on the upswing, Genji was on the downswing. And then Genji loses both their Super Week games, and they're kind of on a bad track for playoffs. Obviously, they do have a little bit of time to fix some stuff, and they have a chance at looking pretty good, but I highly doubt this team is going to Tokyo. All right, and finally, we're on to the actual pick'ems, where I'm going to be doing this all on the fly, just kind of going through it match by match, and we'll start with Zeta Team Secret. You have Zeta, the team that everybody wants to make it to Tokyo. Like, without a doubt, the fan favorite in this tournament. But I think Team Secret is way too hot right now, and I'm gonna have them winning this game and getting a rematch versus DRX. And then T1, Genji, Genji on the downswing. T1 have been kind of a gatekeeper team the whole like season. I'm gonna take them in that game. And then you have DRX, Team Secret, in the upper bracket. I think DRX wins with Foxy9 this time. Pretty simple. They knocked Team Secret back down to the lower bracket. And then Paper Rex, T1. I gotta take Paper Rex here. Again, for the same reason I had Team T1 winning earlier, that's why I have them losing here. They're just the gatekeeper team, not too much more than that. And then we'll start with Zeta T1. I'm gonna take Zeta here. Kind of feels bad having T1 down here, but I do think they're kind of overrated right now, and Zeta is probably the better team out of the two of them. So I'll take them here. Obviously, this is going to be a very high pressure match, and I don't know if T1 can really handle that with the youth on that roster and kind of inexperienced still. Obviously, they've played a whole season, but there is definitely some experience diff there with Zeta. And then Team Secret over Genji, pretty easy for me. I don't know. Team Secret hot, Genji not. Spitting bars here, but and then I think no, both of these teams are already in Tokyo, right? Because this, yeah. So this is already top 3 anyway. So I have DRX winning. I just think Paper X will probably just troll this game. Uh, and then Secret Zeta. I'm gonna take Team Secret to qualify for Tokyo. Obviously, like Zeta, everybody wants them to make it there. I will be rooting for Zeta if this is what it comes to, but I just think Team Secret is so hot right now, and I think it'll probably come back to what I thought it would be at the beginning of the season with. Actually, I thought it was going to be like Talon or maybe Genji instead of Paper Rex, but that's just because they made the roster swap midseason and kind of looked a lot better. But yeah, I'm gonna have Team Secret, Paper Rex, and DRX as my three teams making Tokyo, uh, and I'll have Team Secret winning that, and then because I think Paper Rex is gonna troll again, and Team Secret beat them earlier in the season, so I can see them doing that again, and then DRX winning the grand final, obviously first seed out of Pacific, and yeah, these are gonna be my pick'ems. So yeah, with that, that's gonna be the video. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. Helps me out. Go follow me on Twitter, and leave a comment about any Pacific Ascension players that I should watch. I'm gonna be doing a video series of like rebuilding some of the bad teams that I think need rebuilding, and yeah, that should be fun. So if you guys want to help out with that, leave a comment. Any good players, especially IGLs. Some of the some of the VLR pages don't have any players listed as an IGL for some of the teams, so it would be very helpful to just know who's IGLing for teams like Fennel. I forget some of the other team names, but yeah, would appreciate some help with that. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.